Hey, what's up? John Sonmez here from simpleprogrammer.com. I'm making a video today, literally, because I don't feel like making a video. Haven't felt too great today. Not sure exactly what the problem is. But, you know, one of the things that I talk about a lot is this idea of having to do things even when you don't feel motivated. You see, I could really very easily not record any videos today, but I've basically set a quota for myself and said that I'm going to record 2 videos a day, regardless of how I feel. And so I'm going to go ahead and record my videos for today, even though I really would rather not do it. So I guess that's worth talking about. It's interesting. I think that there's a few topics within here, which one of them would be just the importance of that, of being able to go forward and do something when you don't feel like it, and the importance of setting aside, basically planning things out ahead of time, having these quotas. If you've gotten my soft skills book, you can, which I just got actually I'm going to just point to the Korean version here. I got the Korean version in the mail. So I've got a Korean, a Japanese, a Chinese, a Polish version. I think there's a Russian version out there somewhere. And I'm not sure if there's a Brazilian Portuguese version, but you can check out the soft skills book. But in that chapter, in one of the chapters, I talk about the quota system that I use and how important it is and how I've used that to be extremely productive. But, you know, one of the things about the quota system, one of the things about, and it really goes beyond the quota system, it's really about planning things and making rules for yourself in advance, is that the reason why it's so important is because you are going to have days where you just feel bad, where you don't feel very good at all, where you don't feel, it's not even just feel motivated, you might even just feel depressed. Like I'm not feeling in the greatest today. But on those days, right, if you have some set of rules, you're more likely to progress and make that forward progress. And there's going to be a lot of those days. There's going to be a lot of days where you're not at your top shape, where you're not feeling the best as possible, and where when you rely on your judgment, when you say, should I do something, you're going to make the wrong choice. So the reason why I think this is so important, again, you know, I can know this logically, even though I don't feel it right now, is because you're gonna have those bad days, right? You're gonna have that, and the thing is, like, during those times, you might think you might forget about your goals, right? So, you know, for example, today I haven't really been thinking about the mission that I'm on. I haven't really been thinking about advancing Simple Programmer. I've had those thoughts of maybe I should quit YouTube. Maybe I should quit doing videos. Do I even have anything left to say? You know, is this even valuable? Is this even worth it? Right? You know, you get those thoughts. Everyone gets those thoughts. But because I have decided ahead of time, because I've already planned this out, and I'm just and because I've made a very high principle in my life, or high rule in my life, that when I commit to something, I follow through with it. It's going to save me from that. It's going to save me from myself, right? You know, you could, in one afternoon, in one day, I could destroy everything that I've built. I could destroy Simple Programmer. I could destroy this YouTube channel. You know, and usually that doesn't happen at one time, but it may happen from a series of thoughts. It may happen from starting to go down a slippery slope, which you don't recover from. And so that's why it's so important. That's why it's so critical to push on in those times when you really don't feel like it, honestly, and you forget, you lose track, you lose sight of the bigger vision. So me right now, you know, what am I going through? What am I thinking about? I'm thinking about the fact that somewhere there was a better version of me. And when I say better version of me, I mean a version of me that was in a higher energy state, a version of me that was thinking a little bit more clearly, that was in a good emotional state. There was a version of me that set out and said, hey, John, you're doing great. You need to keep doing videos. You need to do 2 videos a day. That's the plan. And that better version of myself, right? And obviously, if I'm not feeling great today, I know that that version of me was a little bit wiser, wasn't so influenced by emotions, wasn't so influenced by feeling down. That version of me set out the plan. And I can't trust myself right now. I can't. When you're feeling bad, you can't trust yourself. Actually, which is ironic, because when you're feeling bad, when you're feeling down, you get into a state where you feel like you're actually tapping into the real truth, and that's not true. You're actually tapping into falsehood. Usually, those bad thoughts and the negative energy, those are the things that are untrue, but they seem so real, and it seems like that is reality, and that's true. And I think that's one of those things. I think a lot of people, to bridge another subject here, or bridge to another subject, I think a lot of people that get trapped into depression, that it's because they feel like things are hopeless, because they feel like this is the current reality and nothing's ever going to change, and there's never going to be a light again at the end of the tunnel. And you really have to talk yourself through that logically. You have to know that even though you feel this way, you know that that's not true, right? And that's what I've been coaching myself in, preparing myself and telling myself is, again, like tomorrow I'm supposed to run 12 miles. Do I feel like running, like I'm training for a marathon? No, but I'm gonna do it anyway, right? Today I feel like pigging out and eating a bunch of junk. I'm not going to do it. Even though I don't care right now, I literally do not care about my fitness goals. Literally, I do not care about my business goals. I don't care about any of those things. But I know that the wise version of me that set me on this course does. And I know that this is another powerful thing, I think, to think about in this state. Again, I'm kind of ranting off here, but I wanted to make sure that I did record a video. But I think another thing that's powerful to think about is that someday you will get through the trough, right? Because there's the peaks and the troughs. And if you're in a trough, it's almost guaranteed that you're going to be in a peak at some time in the future. And so when you make bad decisions in the trough, that's where you end up with a whole bunch of regret, right? I mean, there's so many things in your life that I can regret it. You probably can regret that you made those poor decisions, you did those mistakes when you're in the trough and not when you're in the peak. So you want to make decisions. You want to change the course of your life. You want to really do those big things only when you're in a peak. I think Tony Robbins talks about it a lot of times in his seminars. He talks about going into a peak state, and I totally understand what he's saying now. But you want to make sure that you do that at those times, because that's when you're making the best decisions. That's when you're actually seeing the most clearly of all. Even though when you're in a trough, it makes you feel like you're seeing more. You feel like you're finally seeing a reality, and that there's no hope, and that things are not going to change, and all of these bad things. And you feel like, oh, what's the point of aiming for these goals? And so you don't have that motivation. So again, just to summarize this, I would just say, look, you're going to be in those periods. You have to know that you're going to hit lows, okay? It's ridiculous to think that your life is just going to be a series of highs, that you're just going to be even keeled. You're going to hit lows. You're just going to feel bad for some reason. You're not going to feel motivated. Maybe it's lack of sleep. Maybe it's just a cycle of depression or whatever it is. But in those times, you have to know that you have to have something to fall back on. You have to have rules, you have to have a system, and you have to just trust yourself. You have to basically keep your logic in your mind. I think I've said it before. I think I did a video on feel the pain, keep stepping forward. And what that means is essentially that, yeah, you feel these things, you process these emotions, but logically you're still there. Analytically, you're still there, and you know that this is just how you feel right now. And right, that's really what separates the boys from the men, if you think about it. And that's really what determines whether or not a person is going to be ultimately successful in life, is because everyone's going to get hit. Everyone is going to go through the storm. Okay, the storm is coming. All right, at some point in your life, the shit will hit the fan, and it may be for no reason, and you just may feel like crap for no reason, but how you act in those situations, that's really going to set the course of your life, because that's what's going to matter the most, because that's where you screwed up, because that's where you're building that big tower and you knock it all down. That's where you fumble the ball, and those are the places you have to guard the most carefully. So sometimes it means you have to tread water. We can watch the video here, link to the video on treading water, and just make it through. And that's sort of my plan here, is I'm just going to record this video, get one more video recorded, going to go for my run. Eventually I'll make it through and I'll be on the other side, and then I can make real bigger decisions. And if I still feel like, hey, maybe I don't want to do this, or maybe I want to make some changes, I can make those changes. But while I'm in a bad situation where while I'm in a bad state, that is never the time to think that I've got enough perspective to be able to make a decision. Like, let's say that I said, oh, I'm fucking deleting my YouTube channel. That'd be a really bad choice, right? Even though I might feel like it right now. All right, that's it. That's all I got for you. If you like this video, if you want to subscribe to the channel, click that subscribe button below. I'm still, no matter how I feel, I'm still gonna make my call to action to get you to subscribe if you haven't already. I'll talk to you next time. Take care.